Welcome back to the Whole Lawyer Podcast. We got a very special episode for you guys. We're talking how it is to be a first generation attorney for the both of us, because we both first generation, so it's gonna be fire. We're talking about the pros and cons of being a lawyer, and we're also talking about our legal interviews. We've done internships, you got lawyer, big boy, big girl lawyer jobs, and we're gonna discuss how we've done these interviews. Might get to some tips and tricks how to do well on these legal field interviews, and we're gonna get into it. But before we start that, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, The Whole Lawyer. It helps us grow. It helps us get amazing guests to give you guys more stories, to get to know these attorneys inside and outside of the courtroom. So today we have our beautiful co-host, Miss Tonee Earle. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. But before we get into how it is to be a first generation, I want to get your reaction to a video. So we're gonna do something different. We're gonna share a little screen.
Oh Lord, this wasn't
All right,
part of the cast.
Part of the rundown. All right, watch this.
Oh, I've seen this.
That's funny. What happened?
But honey, or oh my God, I'm sorry. That I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
The question here is what happened. I'm sorry, I've just been told.
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's go with what happened in the case.
All right. All right, first, you're the judge. How would you react if you're in your robe on the bench and somebody calls you honey like that?
I'm not gonna hold you. It would depend on the case. If we're dealing with like a high class murder trial, I might be taken aback, but I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm probably gonna think, oh, you and your wife be going at it. you
really
honey,
going through it,
honey. You used to it. If it's a little more low stakes, I'll probably just laugh it off. Because I think that was the hard part for him, was like the judge had no real reaction, and so he doesn't really know what to think and how to move forward. Yeah. So that is funny though. I mean, I think everybody has a little Freudian slip now and then. I don't know that I don't think I've ever called a judge honey or babe. So, but I think definitely possible when you're in that conversational like back and forth, and like how we argue, we always are. My mom always calls out babe. So I could see it.
Yeah, it looks like he was in like oral arguments though. It looked pretty serious. It looks like he was doing like a moot or something.
But when you're on a hot bench, if the judge is like going back with you and you're on a hot bench, and the judge is like, but what about this? But what about this? And you just trying to get your words out. It's like, honey,
yeah,
calm down, okay?
That would be crazy if I call. Yeah, my Freudian slip would probably be babe, because if like when we're getting into like heated conversation, I'm like babe.
Yeah,
that'd be me. I'd be calling the judge babe. I don't think let me not say that I would never, because you can say that until it is you,
right?
But it'll be very hard for me to like be in that position where I'm calling the judge like babe,
right,
or like yo, come on, son. Or if I say something crazy like you bugging, like it would be
right.
But it does get heated like that in those moments.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
You're doing like a moot, or you're doing an oral argument, and the judge interrupted you, and you're like, bro, I'm trying to get my point across, please.
Yeah. No, I always think it's funny. I've had pro se litigants call the judge Your Majesty, which always makes me laugh. It just always makes me laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Your that's Majesty? So where are we?
You start using that. That's more fun than Your Honor.
It is.
All right. So we are both first generation attorneys. And it's crazy. I have to look up the definition. Let me make sure I'm getting first generation.
Look up the definition of a first generation attorney?
Yeah, I just want to make sure what qualifies as a first generation. So
it's like in the name.
For people who don't know, because I don't like to assume that people know something, all right? For our listeners, we welcome all people who know what first generation is, and
the
people
literate
who don't.
and the illiterate.
There's no illiterate listeners here, okay? A first-generation law student is generally defined as a student whose parents did not graduate from a four-year college, the first in their immediate family to attend law school, or the first to enter a professional legal career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I didn't know there were like
definitely-
3 elements. I will say that I didn't know the 4-year college. Well, I could see a first generation college grad. To me, none of your parents graduated from
Went
a
to-
4-year university.
Right.
But for a law student, you have you have to go to law. I guess, if you're coming overseas and you do the LLM program, okay, I can see how that can fit in there. Okay. All right.
Right. And it's an or test, not an and test.
Right,
So
right.
it's or these or different things. So it's fine. I watched the video the other day. She said, when it comes to law school, imagine everybody's at the starting line of a track race. And if you're a first generation law student, move 10 feet back. If you're an immigrant, move another 10 feet back. If you're a woman, move another 10 feet back. If you're a black woman, and it's like to put it in perspective of the difficulty of being a first generation anything, because there's no blueprint. There's no direction. You're figuring this out on your own.
Yeah.
And I could definitely say that's true for me in my journey. What about you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, having someone in your family, like when I discuss with like colleagues who are not necessarily the same race as me, most of the time, oh, my uncle was a lawyer, my dad was a lawyer, my brother's a lawyer. They have lawyers in their family, so it makes sense that they can be 25, recently graduating, and have a great career ahead of them. Whereas I think about the fact I had to go part-time. I didn't graduate till I was 29. And it took me a while to really figure out where I want to go, what I wanted to do. But I will say, while I didn't have family members that could kind of advise me on my route, I did have some really good mentors that made up for being a first gen law grad and figuring out what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go.
Yeah. And people don't understand like just the little, even having a mentor, those little things matter. So I would say I had an aunt who was an attorney, and I vividly remember when I was younger, my aunt was the attorney for my church / school. And we used to have like small claims, like people who didn't pay the tuition and stuff like that. And she would take me down to downtown Brooklyn at that Brooklyn courthouse to the small claims court and have me fill out forms. I don't remember what document it was, but it was legal documents. And she had me do it in pencil, and she had me fill it out, and I would mess up, and she would have me erase it, do it over, or she would throw out the paper, bring in another document, do it over, do it. It was frustrating as hell, but I didn't appreciate it until later because it taught me how much that stuff matters in the legal field.
Yeah,
you have to be that meticulous when you're filing court documents. I do that in my practice today. I'm reviewing every single line to make sure, all right, this is filled out correctly.
Right.
Let me do that over. Let me start that. Because, and I didn't know what she was teaching me at that time. So little moments like that matters to young high schoolers, college, law students. Just that tidbit can set you up so well for the future. And as compared to people who are like, oh, I just want to be a lawyer. The only lawyer I've seen is on TV.
Right.
Now let me figure out how to do that. That's very difficult.
No, and that makes sense. And it's amazing that you had the opportunity to have someone close to you prepare you in that way, because I do think that's kind of the missing piece for a lot of first gen lawyers is you don't have that kind of hands-on experience where you can kind of know, okay, this is how I have to prepare for what it is I'm about to go into. I think I had like subliminal messages of like how to be a lawyer, because my mom was a paralegal for a judge. And sometimes like I will go to work with her, and actually I would go to school with my mom while she was getting her associates. So I don't remember anything. Like I have very like, just small little tokens of memories of being that age. But I think subliminally like that entered my mind, and seeing my mom work and get to where she wanted to be, kind of gave me the passion for being in this field, but also prepared me to like know that like, okay, I am 30 steps behind everyone else. So I do have to be mindful of like how I show up in the work that I do. Does that make sense?
I wonder if anything that our upbringing gave us is the work ethic. So no, we didn't have like the step by step. Because even my aunt, I'm thinking about it now, like her path, she was a nurse before she went to law school. The world when she went to law school was completely different. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, she gave me tidbits, but like in this current setting, in this current world, it was like how to navigate that space it was all new, having to figure that out. But if anything that our experiences gave us, I think it was the work ethic. We've seen people in our lives put their hands to something and never stop and accomplish a thing. Like, okay, I saw my mom go to class. I saw my mom at her job. I could do it too.
Yeah.
I could put my hands to something and figure it out.
For sure.
Did you feel that first generationness while in law school? Did something happen in law school? I have a feeling in law school was like, I don't know if I know how to navigate this as well.
I don't know if it was
You did great your first semester, but
right. Like I don't know if it was. I did great all 4 years. So
oh my God.
I don't know if it was while I was in law school. I think it was like once I got done with my first fellowship out after graduating, I think I was like, man, why did I go into like public sector nonprofit work? I was looking at like some of our colleagues who like went into big law, and I was like, should somebody have advised me to go to big law first and then go into public interest? Not to say anything's wrong with going straight into public interest, but when you see a lot of people who work for government or they've gone through the honors program, they come from money. Like they come from a place where like, yeah, you can afford to take that pay cut because you have a trust fund or mommy and daddy are going to cover your college bills and your student loans. But when you don't have any type of financial footing and your goal is, well, I want to help people, you gotta help yourself first, bro. It's like flying on a plane. You gotta put your mask on before you could put on anybody else's. And I wish somebody would have told me it's absolutely okay to chase money especially when you're paying all of this money to get the education and the licensure. It is absolutely okay to chase money, go to big law. And I think another part of it was, being first gen, not having anybody who was close to me and looked like me at that level. It wasn't until I hit my fellowship at GCalF where I saw people who look like me at a big firm like Arndt Fox. And I'm thinking like, what did you do to get here? Right. So I think it was like it was never in law school. Like I said, I did well in law school. The legal education of it all came easy to me. I don't know why. I think it was probably because I got my paralegal certificate ahead of time and I was already working in the legal field. But law school itself came easy. I naturally am a networker, so I joined organizations. I ran for class president, ended up being vice president. I did all of those things, did multiple, internships, externships. But it was like post law. It was the fact that like I was going to law school with no real knowing of what I wanted to do exactly. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to serve my community. But I really didn't have a clue of like, what do I actually want to do with my license?
Yeah.
So. What about you?
It doesn't make sense for you to make less than the people you're serving.
Nope.
Because it is not to say like I need to be richer than anybody, but it was like if we both struggling, how I'm gonna try to help you out when I'm making less of the people I'm trying to help through my public service and I'm struggling too. And people do it. People do it. I respect them for it. But it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't. And there was this idea when we were in law school that, okay, we were going to serve our 10 years and then our student loans will be forgiven. And now that's like up in the air. And it really has me feeling like, dang, I really should have went the money route. It has nothing to do with like money being the root of evil, all the little negative things people say about money. It really has everything to do about me putting myself, filling up my cup first so that then I can give back. I can give back as an alumni, right? I can serve other organizations that, I have a heart for. I can do all those things. I can't do that now. I don't make the money to do that because I went into the public sector and I've been here for so long. But even when you switching jobs, the money is still the same, right? So
Yeah.
that probably
Especially
be the
with
only thing.
yeah. No, it's real. Especially with inflation, you get to six figures. My whole life, I thought once I get to six figures, we live buy my house. We gonna be living on the island. It's the idea of six figures that when you're younger just seems so huge, and then you get to 2026, you're like, oh,
But
I
six
can't afford to
figures,
buy a plane ticket. That's
bro,
crazy.
six figures for somebody who does not have hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans can actually take you pretty far. I do think the issue is like the bulk of our money is going back to paying for our education. And when we're paying for our education, it's like spitting on fire. The interest is so mother flipping high that you're not really making any dent in the cost of the education. So,
and that's the biggest misconception. People think that because you became a lawyer, you're now rich. There's so many different areas of law. You could work in the government. You could work in boutique firms. You could work in mid-sized firms and then big law. Like there's a very certain sector of law that gives you that I'm rich money. But as to your point, that comes with your time.
Yeah.
For me, growing up, I did different programs and I would visit different law firms. Obviously, growing up in Brooklyn, I did a program in Brooklyn, went to different firms in New York. I did a program in Delaware, went to different firms in Delaware, these big law firms in these spaces. And you're right. I walked to these spaces. I did not see anybody like me. I saw all these white people and it's intimidating. It's like, yo, ain't no way I'm going to get here. It's so crazy. At every point in this process, when I would enter these spaces and I see who's in these rooms, I'm like, oh, ain't no way. But I kept going anyway. You gotta persevere, but it's like
you have to.
You know how discouraging it is to want this thing, and at every single point and every single progress, you're like, why ain't nobody who look like me here? Like, am I supposed to be here? Do I have the capabilities of doing this thing? And that's how I felt about big law in these different spaces, especially when you think about IP and you have to have some like biology and some deep rooted background in these very specialized area that you never even heard of. And you go to these interest meetings, they're like, yeah, if you majored in biochemistry, analytical farming in college, like what? I didn't even know this was a option. And all these things come with information that was passed down through your network.
Right.
And if you grow up in a small city, if you grow up in the hood, if you grow up in different cities, you don't have access to that information. So by the time you get there, they're like, you need this, this, and this. And you're like, bro, I didn't even know this existed. So that's the hard part, along with just feeling like, am I adequate enough to even perform this type of work?
I think that's true. I also think that like the legal field is outwardly overly complicated. Like,
yes,
I think a lot of people come in thinking, oh, I got to go to a T14 school. I got to get this on my LSAT. And when I tell you, Black mediocrity is so much work in comparison to white mediocrity. Like you can actually be mediocre in this field as a Black person and still stand out. When I tell you, my thought was this. If I'm meant to go to, because everybody said, be a lawyer, you're going to be a great lawyer, you're going to be a real lawyer. Everybody telling me this, right? I don't really know what I want to do, but everybody's saying, go be a lawyer. I'm like, bet. I'm going to take one little LSAT course. I'm going to take the LSAT once and I'm going to apply to law school once. And if I get in, I said, I can't put pressure on me like everybody else does. If this is for me, it has to be for me. And once I get in, the floodgates just open. Like you just have this opportunity to obviously, you know, like you said earlier, we had that work ethic. We put the work in, but I never felt like, oh, I have to be the best. I have to be the top of my class. I have to do. I never felt like any of that. And I truly, you can't. I truly do feel that if you have your eyes set on something, whether it's big law, public interest, you can absolutely get in that. And especially if you're a person of color, you're already used to failure. You're already used to being told no time and time again. You have to keep getting at it. It was like I was telling you the other day, the guy that I met at the networking event who was saying like he didn't think he could get into the honors program. And I was telling them your story. I was like, my husband applied 3 times. This is y'all's problem. Y'all don't like hearing the word no. y'all don't like hearing the word no, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to hear the word no. Exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm on a selection committee for Arizona's Bar Leadership Institute. And one of the things, it was a professor who was on the committee from, I think it was ASU. And she was saying, like, some of these people, we got to let them know that they can apply again because we're going to need people for next year too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, that's real. Some of these people got to hear, no, apply again next year, right? They do. And it has nothing. And some of the people she was saying that to were actually really great candidates. They just didn't have the experience or the time in the field yet. And my thought, yes, just keep adding. Like, so you're not perfect. Judges panels, that will tell you they apply 4, 5, 6 times before they get appointed to be a judge. Who the hell do you think you are that you're supposed to get yes the first try every time?
Fact,
no,
you have some
keep
nerve.
applying. You have
the
audacity. The audacity of you to think that.
The road to becoming a lawyer is paved with no's. Whether you're applying for internships, this program, this fellowship, you're gonna get a bunch of no's. And it's funny, like, even think about now, like, I have to sit down and think about the no's. Like, I'm in the position that I've worked hard for, that I prayed for, and I'm so blessed to be where I'm at. And once you're in it, you don't even, you're not like you're sitting there, I'm so mad I didn't get into that internship.
Right.
I'm so mad I didn't get into that externship.
Right.
You're not thinking about that. You're here now. Somehow you made it.
Right.
Somehow, despite the no's, you were still able to achieve the things that you got. So obviously it couldn't stop you. Exactly. So don't be afraid of the no's. You should embrace them as fast as possible, honestly. If anything, you're like, yo, please, let's get these fears out of the way, because the faster I fall, the faster I could get back up and continue building.
It's the same thinking with the bar exam that I tell all my students. You fail now, fail during practice. Learn all of your inabilities, learn all the places you lack, learn all your weaknesses now so you can prepare for D-Day when all that got to go out the window. And honestly, you have to apply that to every portion of your life, even with us getting fit and playing volleyball. The reality of learning, like, we aren't the best yet. We aren't the best. And it's going to be people who don't want to play with us. It's going to be people who, feel in a certain type of way when we on their team. But the reality of it is that's today. We got tomorrow. Tomorrow we going to be better. And the next day we going to be better. And we're going to keep coming at it. You have to have that consistency to get through failure in order to succeed. Success is failing over and over and over and over again until you finally succeed, right? Nobody succeeds on the first time.
Yeah. And I think it's about earning respect too. I remember growing up playing football in different parks in Brooklyn. We was like 6, 7 years old playing against like these 18-year-olds or whatever. They weren't doing it. Hey, little buddy, here's a pass. You can throw it. They're like, you better come get this ball. Facts. They're running us over until you had to earn it.
Facts.
I'm thinking about my brother. He played football growing up, and he had to go through that process too until he grew into his body.
Facts.
Got into high school.
Facts.
And he was knocking everybody out, running everybody until you have to respect it. I think the same thing in my career I'm feeling right now, where it's like entering into this new field, into this new space. There's a lot of moments where I feel like, dang, I feel so inadequate. I feel like I should know this. I feel like I should be better at this. But I'm going to keep showing up until you have to respect it. Until you got to respect the work. And then you believe it within yourself. Now I walk into rooms. Now I walk into the courtroom. Now that I got enough reps in, of like, no, you have to respect what I say. I'm going to now speak with the confidence because I know what I'm talking about. I've had enough experience. You now have to respect what I'm saying. And they do. So it's not just like the other people now give you the validation. It's only until you believe it within yourself, until you know that I've read through enough cases. I've appeared in front of this judge enough times. I've spoken to this defense counsel enough times. I know what I'm talking about, and you're going to hear me. And I'm going to take up space and figure it out. But that only comes with pushing through the failure. If the first time opposing counsel gets you on something, you're like, oh my God, this isn't for me. They made me look like a fool. I can't believe, I don't know if this is for me. You never gonna get nowhere. You gotta have some armor on you, bro. Like, I bet I did look like a fool. I failed there. Bet. Next one.
Facts.
Next one. And like you said in volleyball, the amount of serves I missed, the amount of balls that hit my face, pause. like it's the worst feeling.
It is.
But in 30 seconds, the next play is up. You got another opportunity to get better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of getting through law school and now we're practicing, what are the pros and cons you would say of being a lawyer? I'm going to have you start with a pro because I know you got a lot of cons. I'm going to force you to be positive first.
I think a pro is like outwardly people who don't really know about the secret society of a lawyer. They respect you. They find it prestigious that that is your profession. I'll remember just like when we moved out here and I started playing volleyball, and I don't just tell I'm a lawyer. I don't do that. I had just wore my like UDC shirt to volleyball, and they were like, "Oh, did you go to law school?" I was like, "Yeah." Are you a lawyer? I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Whoa, you got 10 times cooler." And I'm like, "Really? Why?"
Exactly. No, facts.
So I would say that's a pro. It's like people who really don't know about the field, they respect it. They find it cool. They think of all the Law and Order and Suits and shows, and they think that's your life. And like that's fun for a moment.
Just for that moment.
Yeah.
I do find it same. I do find it interesting when I get that reaction from people. It's weird that I find it weird. Like, really? You think it's that? But going through law school, we had that same feeling. Facts. It was the top of the mountain. That Esquire was the thing. You felt what they felt at the time. But the moment you get it, you're like, oh, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Isn't that crazy?
It is, and it's funny because I'm always reminded of small little moments where I would meet other lawyers and they would tell me like, "Oh, don't do it."
Yeah,
they would tell me like, and I've kind of become that person now where I'm like, "You sure about that?"
Nah, I got that a lot too. I always thought that was like the hazing process.
Yeah,
they did it on purpose to see if you really want to do it. Like, don't do this for no frivolous.
Yeah, because there are people who love it. There are people who love being lawyers who've been doing it 30, 40 years, won't leave their practice. And I think that's amazing. I think if you find joy in what you're doing, that's the goal, right? Is to do something that we find joy in doing every day. I don't, but I'm glad there are people who do.
Certain things you just don't learn until you get older. And for me, when I was a kid, the young Akeem who had dreams of becoming a lawyer didn't know what being a criminal trial attorney truly meant in high school. He just saw the trial work. He just saw speaking in a courtroom.
Right.
He didn't see filing the motion and the scheduling order and talking to your legal assistant and the paralegal and he didn't see all that work. So I think what people recognize that why they want to become a lawyer, it's the qualities and the traits you get from the law that people actually like and not like the practice itself. And like you said, I think certain people do love the practice of law, but I think a lot of people love the traits and the qualities that you can build, which leads me to my pro. My pro to become a lawyer is because it makes you a great speaker, specifically a trial attorney. I take every opportunity to speak in court as a rep. So if it's a regular sentencing, if it's a regular status conference, the practice of getting up, looking the judge in the eye, relaying a message, speaking about the facts, even for something very simple and low stakes, that's a rep because I truly believe I like telling stories. I like speaking. I like orating. I like convincing people of something. And that translates way past the courtroom. And I feel like the law gives you those reps continuously. So again, specifically for a trial attorney, it gives you the reps every single day. I'm in court like 4 times a week, some 2-3 times a day. So I'm constantly speaking over and over and over. And I like that, even though some days it's draining as hell. I think it's a good pro because without in the next 15 years, if I'm practicing law or not, I could be a public speaker. I could use that talent to make income and to impact people in different areas and not just law. So that's a pro.
That's good. I like that pro.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's your con?
Oh, if only there's one. One
One for now.
One for now. There's so many cons. Con. I think the one con of being a lawyer, especially if you're in civil litigation, is when you learn everybody petty. Everybody is petty. And you start and you can there are two people I feel like, especially if you're doing like family law, probate law, one of the more like relational civil litigation topics, torts. You either really love the BS that your clients give you and you take it, you run with it, and you're like, oh, I can razzle dazzle the court and get the outcome I want. You're either one of those, or you're one of the people where you start to get jaded at how much people lie, how much people tell you the story, the version of the story they want you to hear. And then when you tell them the truth, they tell you ChatGPT said X, Y, and Z, or their friend, sister, cousin, brother, mother told them X, Y, and Z. And you just start to get real jaded because you realize this system, this field really is about who can lie the best, who can manipulate the best, who can, it's a very manipulative field. And I think that's a con, because there are people in this field who will literally just be like running out of retainer only to settle. They don't have a care in their world about the fact that person might have had to take out a loan in order to get, this matter solved. And their client may have had legitimate reasons to hiring a lawyer. As a family law attorney, I'm at the point now where I always start with the reality of it. You really want a stranger to tell you who gets to spend time with your kids? You really want a stranger to tell you who gets which property? Y'all don't want to set aside your differences for a brief moment to come to a amicable and equitable settlement agreement on your own? You really want a stranger who's got their own bias, their own judgments, their own feelings about men, their own feelings about women, to come and tell you how you're supposed to support your child? If that's what you want, fine. We'll go that route. It's going to cost you.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you to have a stranger come up here and blow up your life in ways that maybe you can't even imagine. If that's what you want, fine. Because I don't think enough attorneys do that. I don't think enough. I think too many attorneys sit there and coddle. I've seen this and I've seen this before. I've seen that before, to make a client feel like they actually have a valid claim. And I just think it's horrible. I think it's horrible how many regular civilians are being taken advantage of and manipulated in this field because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. And I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a con to me. I don't like it.
Is there somehow a deep rooted pro in that? Because it allows you to see human behavior. It allows you to see the world for what it is. It allows you to see how many people are hurting, man. I think that's what opened my eyes to like, yo, so many people are out here struggling and hurting, which allows me to see the need even more for good attorneys. No,
I think you can be a good attorney and the system is still going to get you. The system is still going to get you. No matter how good of an attorney you are, you still backed up against decades of illegality in a system that's supposed to find justice. So I feel like, no, I mean, even most recently in Arizona, the Supreme Court had finally kind of defined domestic violence in a way that is helpful for mothers. And Arizona has always been, in terms of like just like the written law, mother friendly. In Arizona, if you are unwed and you have a child with somebody, that man has no rights to that baby.
Jeez.
And there are lawyers who will sit there and say, that's great. Abscond, run off with the kid. and if you're in a domestic violence situation, I do think that's great. I do think there should be some protection, because we all know how protection orders work and all that other stuff. But on the flip side, where I know fathers who have wanted lives with their children, and maybe they weren't, the best partner to the mother of their child, but were good fathers. I think it's horrible, and that's a conversation that is never had. It's never had. The conversation about how fathers are treated in the legal, like good fathers are treated in the legal system, is just not talked about enough, and how the legal system is solely focused on domestic violence, which I think, it should not be ignored. Domestic violence is a huge issue. People are dying. That is a huge issue. But it's one of those things where there's like it's the Thanos question, right? It's like, when we can selectively fix one problem, right, at the risk of hurting many people, but we're fixing this one problem, what choice do you make? For me, I think conversation should be had at both levels. How do we help those who are suffering through domestic violence, but how do we ensure good fathers receive justice? Because at the end of the day, you're not just hurting the father, you're hurting that child. Yeah. And I think at least in the family law system, the whole point is supposed to be about the best interest of the child. Yeah. But the reality of it is them little factors we're looking at are not defined enough to ensure that the best interest of the child is actually being adjudicated properly. That's so as good of an attorney you are, every side has bad facts, right? And at the end of the day, the judge has to figure out who's more credible, who they think the child would do better under, and a lot of times they will choose the mom because of whatever reason. But I will say this, a pro that I do think is coming out of this, we are seeing, I am seeing at least, more women acknowledge the benefit of giving the father the opportunity to be a single parent. Yeah. I just saw a video the other day of this woman in business class flying internationally. She said she let her husband and she let her ex win the custody battle, and she living her best life because F them kids, bro. Let them get
go with their daddy.
The best of both worlds. Let them go with their daddy. Why are you trying to hurt that man and hurt yourself in the process?
Give you more work.
I'm speaking of people who who are not necessarily dealing with domestic violence, because everybody, well, DV. I know DV is bad. I get that. I'm more so talking to people who are not dealing with that, and they just want to be petty and spiteful,
right? Because he a good father. You just mad because he was texting shorty. That's the only reason why you keep his kids from him. That's crazy.
Exactly. That's not talked about enough. I feel like that has to be talked. Leave that man go. I love seeing the videos like the divorce effect, the single effect of seeing women. Instead of being petty, cause I think Jess Hilarious kind of talks about this in her new book, and she was talking about it on the Breakfast Club about how she was just being mad petty with her baby daddy, putting him through the ringer, and it's like, girl, move on, go live your best life, and do what's good for you and your child, and leave that man alone. You don't need the court system involved. You two can come to an agreement on give him the bulk of the time, bro. Pay him a little $50 a month for child support and go live your best life.
That too. They want the child support. That's a big issue too. They want the extra money.
And half these men don't got no jobs. So where are you getting them? You want money they don't have, bro. Work. You don't let them watch their kid, and you don't have to worry about it. You do 50-50, you won't have to worry about child support because they got to buy half the groceries.
They ain't doing their knowledge. They ain't doing their math, because in their minds, like, oh, if I could find a way where I don't got to work, I could get child support from my baby daddy who's a mechanic. And I could figure out how to fund my lifestyle, as opposed to let me go get a good job. Let me pay him the little money, have him have full custody, and I got funds to go on my trips
and live your best life.
And live their best life. Like that's just a bill. You just pay that extra child support and you go live your life. They don't see it like that.
They don't. I need more family law lawyers to speak on that. I really do. Yeah. Family law, probate law, maybe landlord-tenant law should be units of law that are more amicable than it's too obvious. Why are you spending $30,000 on a divorce?
Jesus.
And you don't even have that in savings, bro. You taking out loans.
You got a fire, yeah.
You taking out loans.
Jeez Louises. No, that's real. I remember when I started in civil, when I was a paralegal, and there was cases that I started working on that has been going on for like 7 years. Like, oh yeah, this attorney's not even here. This attorney's not even practicing anymore. Why? Why is this case still going? That's crazy. And that's why I always tell people, like, if you're the law is not a get rich quick scheme. If you're trying to sue somebody thinking that's about to be a come up, I pray you in this for the long game. I pray you understand that this is going to take some time, because this ain't no quick turnaround. Let me get my money by tomorrow type thing. It takes so long. There's so much theater in this that I'm like, we could be way farther along if we just adopt certain things. You're right. There were certain people that my certain attorneys that I worked for that didn't even want to change their filing system, much less integrating AI.
Oh my God, the anti-AI people are.
I spoke to a lawyer about AI. She said, "I don't even want to hear you say that word around me." She said, "I don't even want to talk about it." You think judges are gonna want to adopt it? It's gonna take so. So when people are like, "Oh, AI is gonna take everybody's jobs, including lawyer," like I've seen people in comments. Yeah, I've seen people in comments like, "Yeah, you're mad because they're gonna take you can't do your billables. They're gonna take your job." I'm like, all right, bro. It's AI's gonna have some time before they take my job. I think it's gonna be our lifetime.
It does have time.
The way how slow the court system moves, AI is gonna take a minute before AI takes our job.
Exactly. And there are pros and cons to AI. A lot of people don't think about, indigent litigants. They benefit from having AI. If they benefit from their attorney not having to travel to court, right? Everything is billable. So at any point, at any rate, we can now. I think the issue is the legal system has welcomed AI and then not regulated it. So you have people using AI to write motions, claiming they're taking 3 hours on these motions that really only took 15 minutes that they didn't even read. So that's another story. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's outdated. I think it's theatrical. I think there are plenty of cons to the legal system. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm a lawyer. I'm proud to be a lawyer, but being in this field is not all it's cracked up to be. It has work to do. It has a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And speaking of work to do, the way we got all this work to do is that we have to go through interviews. Again, I've done interviews for internships. I've done interviews for jobs and different stuff like that. And I would love to know how hard is the interview process being a lawyer or just being in this field? Like, what are some of the things you felt like people were looking for on these jobs, like the hiring committees, what they were looking for that enabled you to get in the positions that you've been in the past?
I think in terms of like hard or easy, it's always going to be dependent on the job. There are some jobs that'll make you go through 3 interviews, 4 interviews. Other jobs that they'll hire you after, at the first interview.
Yeah,
I remember,
red flag.
No, facts, red flag. I remember I went to an interview for this like estate planning firm, and mind you, like I was green as hell. Like I was just leaving my first fellowship, having only done like a few probate cases, and I thought I prepared for that interview, but the lady who interviewed me was so intimidating. And I hate calling women intimidating, but I had never felt so stupid in my life because she was asking me questions that like I did not know the answer. She was literally putting the interview on me. Like she was just like, "What do you want?" She was like, "What can you do?" And to me it was like, okay, there are going to be some interviews you're going to have that are just not going to be good. They're not going to be good.
Right.
Whether it's because that place probably wouldn't have been a good fit for you anyway, or, you have more experience to gain before you're at a level where you can show up to a place that knows what it wants in its employee and is willing to ensure that you have that. Whereas other times it really is, again, researching, make sure you know about the company, making sure. I like to do a LinkedIn check of anybody who I know is going to be on the interview. I like to see if there's anything I have in common with the people. I like to see if, maybe they've written any articles that I can read, or books that I can read and have a little bit of knowledge on. I think in this day and age, a lot, especially these younger folks, they just show up wearing their best jammies.
Jesus.
And
guys, please. We got it. I know Gen Z and Generation Alpha has been catching a lot of slack. I know people been coming for y'all, and I could appreciate the fact that y'all see the world differently. Y'all cannot be showing up to interviews in pajamas. Come on, son. Come on. Everything don't got to be a protest. Everything don't got to be, oh, I just want to be myself. No, you are applying for a job. You need to you like groceries? You like you like texting on your phone? You like being on TikTok? You got to pay.
You do.
And how you pay is how you get a job. Not everything is like, oh, I got to tear down the system and I got to revolt against this. No, you cannot show up to interviews in pajamas. You stop telling your mom to hop on the interview to talk to the hiring manager. That's not okay. What are we doing here, guys?
It's not.
And this is out of love. This is unacceptable, man. Come on. Iron your shirt.
Yeah.
Put on a tie.
Yeah.
Put on a jacket.
Do a mock interview. Like, one thing I'll see is like, you can tell this is the first time this person has had a conversation about this job and they're very nervous. I've had I don't even know. I think they were an LP. They were interviewing for an internship and they openly admitted that they were practicing law without a law license. And I'm like, okay.
Jeez.
Like, have the this is where mentors can be really helpful, because I like doing mock interviews. You and I will sit there and we'll give our oral arguments to each other and we'll present to each other. We'll do all of that because, we don't want the first time we're presenting to be in front of that people. The nerves are already there. I don't need to be struggling through my presentation. So, doing mock interviews, especially if you're still in law school, your administration hopefully has a career and development organization or department that will sit there and do mock interviews with you where they can kind of guess what type of questions you'll be asked and kind of help you with your answers. Because being able to interview is a skill. It really is a skill. It can be developed over time. Some people are just naturally good at it. But if you are good at interviewing, you can obviously go far.
Yeah, 100%. And the point you made about LinkedIn is so good. The job that I currently have, that's what I did. Before before my interview, I just went on LinkedIn. I'm like, I need to talk to somebody who works here. I don't care what division you in, somebody who works here. So I went on LinkedIn and found the chief of some like random division, right? So I contacted her. We had a whole hour-long phone call. Dope person, dope comment. I'm like, this is cool, man. Like, hopefully I get to work with you, whatever. I show up for my interview the next week. Guess who's on that interview call?
Yeah.
Guess who's interviewing me? The person who I just talked to last week. I said, oh, we Gucci. I felt confidence shot through the roof, comfortability, Gucci, chilling. Whole time, now I have a familiar face.
Yes.
Her eyes lit up. She's not able to tell the rest of the hiring committee, oh, yeah. I had no clue she was going to be on the hiring committee. That goes such a long way to do your due diligence before the interview. And to my last point about confidence, the fellowship I got right out of law school, my interview was in a conference room with 3 attorneys on each side of a big conference room table, 6 people, and then the 7th person, like the chief of the division, was at the top of the table. That's intimidating as hell. And now they're just throwing questions at you. They're staring at you. The lights is mad bright. You sitting on this big table at one end, and you have to field their questions. And I think 2 things. Confidence, man. You look them in the eye. Even if you feel like everything that's coming out your mouth don't make sense, that's a fake it till you make it moment. You just talk. You better harness the gift of gab from the gab gods in that moment and just speak to speak to them with confidence and speak thoroughly. And also take your time. One thing I did in that interview, I paused. I don't care. You have to be comfortable with silence sometimes in interviews, because if you try to rush, you may say something. I don't think this is wrong answers, but you may stumble or fumble, or you keep saying and to fill the silence. Silence is way better than ums and ahs, because it tells the interviewer that you're thoughtful. I want to think before I speak. So even in that interview, they would ask me a question. I would sit there and be like, or even say, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And then you sit there. That's a trick. Yeah. That's a good question. And you sit there in silence and then you think. And then you answer. I feel like that shows the interviewer so much. Even if your answer isn't amazing, they're probably still stuck on the fact that, dang, this guy just took his time to answer this question, and I could appreciate that. So confidence and take your time.
And then the art of like the post interview kind of items, like follow up with the email. Thank you for your time. Put a little anecdote that you guys talked about. Look forward to hearing from you soon. All of those things are very helpful in helping you secure the job. And ultimately, make sure you want the job. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. Come prepared with questions. If you don't know what to ask, we are in the world of AI. We use ChatGPT. What are some questions I should be asked in order to feel the most comfortable if I'm offered the job? Let them know your concerns. Are you concerned about the pay scale? Like, is there wiggle room? Are you concerned about the training? Does the job application tell you enough about what the training process is going to look like? Are you concerned about how
home?
Is there work from home? How are KPIs measured? Like, all of that stuff is going to be really important. So interviewing, it's a very short part of getting the job, because once you're in the job, now you work the job. But I think interviewing is is the first place where you can ensure not only are you a good candidate for the job, but the job is a good job for you, and you're not going to be leaving in 6 months because you didn't ask all the right questions. And even I love when employers say, like, well, yeah, you can speak with a few of our current employees about their experience. I love when employees are on the interview, because that's an opportunity for me to really ask, how are you enjoying this job? What are the benefits you get from this job? What are some of I ask, what are the pros and cons of the current position you're in? Right? Like, I like asking those questions because it's important to know.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I think this happens further along your career, because I feel like I'm still trying to figure this out. When you're coming out of law school, you don't have as much like leeway to like demand certain things.
Right.
But as I get more years in this profession, I'm recognizing it's not so much the subject matter of the job, but what the lifestyle that this job can provide me.
Yeah.
When you start to value your time, you're like, I need a job that also values my time.
Yeah.
I need a job that's not draining and soul sucking. I don't care if this is real estate. I don't care if this is IP. I don't care if this is family law. Does this job fit the lifestyle that I want to live?
Yeah.
Does this job help regulate my nervous system or throws it off the train tracks and make me go crazy?
Exactly.
So I know people go into law school say, I need to be this type of lawyer.
Right.
I need to be this field. But if you get there and you're like, and you value working from home, or you value time with your children, and you want to go into big law, and you want to go into, no matter how much you love this space, it's in direct opposition to how you want to live your life, and you're not going to be happy.
Exactly.
How do you navigate that? Like, I feel like as we get older, is now deciding, how can this job benefit me? And it's not just like only me. If I recognize that this job can now help my lifestyle, I'm better able to perform on this job because I have the time and the bandwidth and the energy to perform well.
Exactly.
And that all matters. And
No, go ahead.
I'm saying that all matters, and that just comes with time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And the last thing I'll say is, don't let these baby boomers and these older generations get you fooled. I saw Oprah the other day talking about there's no such thing as work-life balance. Man, you're wrong. You're wrong. In a day like today, you absolutely need work-life balance. There's no reason why you should be giving 12 hours of your day to a job and then nothing to yourself. We are in 2026. The idea that women have to wait years into their career before they can have a child. I used to be jealous. I used to be jealous of people coming in the fellowship after me and they getting pregnant. Because I'm like, how you doing that? How dare you? How you coming into this job and feel you have the ability to start your little family now? Okay.
Yeah. Well, what they be saying is like you be wondering how your coworker is supporting 5 children on the same salary.
I'm wondering. But they're doing it. They're doing it. And to me, it's like none of them hurt their careers. None of them feel like they fell behind. They about to be, in their 40s, living their best life, getting ready to be empty nesters, where we gonna be probably having a 5-year-old at that time.
Listen, man, I'm in the gym. That's why we in the gym. That's why we're in the gym.
But don't let these older folks fool you into thinking that you have to be a slave to your career. You no longer have to do that. And there are jobs out there. And I think the more, millennials and younger generations stick together about demanding, proper pay, proper healthcare, adequate benefits. There are 365 days in the year. There's no reason why I should only have 18 days of PTO. I'm so sorry.
Come on, sir.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, yo.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah,
Mhm.
we with y'all on that one, Generation Alpha
Yeah.
and Z
Yeah.
and LMLP. Like we on the front lines with that one.
Especially because other countries are doing it. Like
Yeah.
America's supposed to be the blueprint. America's supposed to come first. America's supposed to be the best. And yet, in all things, when it comes to career, we suffer. We are far behind.
Yeah.
So I think we have to call the bluff on our current administration and these
Mm-hmm.
corporations that use us. They use us because we could be out there starting our own businesses and doing what we love.
Mhm.
It would be a lot of work for sure. But
Mhm.
we would get away with a lot more. And so if you're going to dedicate your time to a corporation, it's really important that you get the benefit of it. For sure.
That's real. That's real. So if you want more dope episodes like this, more gems, more bar spitting, how we be doing the whole lawyer, subscribe, go on YouTube, go on TikTok, Instagram, we're there. Please join the community and help us grow the channel so we could keep bringing you more great content like this. This has
Yes,
been another
sir.
episode of The Whole Lawyer. Peace, y'all.
Peace out.